Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I am so inspired. I feel a little bit emotional, but that's sort of where I am these days, so it's okay. I am so honored to be here, and listening to your stories has, it's just brought up so much more of the experiences that I went through. Today, I'm sharing from the parent's perspective. And I just want to say that in 2009, I felt like the Lord was tugging at my heart, to Dr. Sherwood's point. He was tugging at my heart to provide a place of respite in my home for children who were going through the foster care, system, a place where they could come find some peace in the midst of whatever their transition was going to be, whether it was going to be going back home or moving on to another place, but understanding that there was a need for them to have a place where they could just breathe. And I was childless and I was in my 40s, and I thought maybe it was something I ate. So I kept moving. However, it happens in your 40s, right? But I got the tug again a year later. And so my husband and I went through the preparation process within our county. And we waited until we went through it. It was very long, like they dug into every part of our lives and caused me to also re-examine a lot of my journey, which had involved some emotional trauma, healing from grief, healing from sexual assault, those type of things. And so I had done my work, my inner work, to get to a place of providing peace. And I felt like, okay, well, God was asking me to now provide that peace because, our circumstances don't have to be similar, but they have a common thread of understanding and pain and healing from pain. And I said, yes, Lord, I will provide that for someone else. We kind of forgot about it, actually, because it took a while. I was at a conference in Florida, minding my business, sitting in a restaurant, 2012, right? Some time had passed, and I got a phone call while I was at lunch saying, hey, we have a sibling group. And I had stated that I would take a sibling group because of talking with adults who had come through the foster care system and had told me about the trauma of being separated from their siblings and just how heart-wrenching that was. So we said, yes, we will open up our home to a sibling group. So over the course of a week and a half, I became the parent to two kids. People get 9 months to prepare. I got a week and a half. And so they were 3 and 7. And I felt like there were just a couple points that I want to share with you in the time that I have. I called Alexa, I'm sorry. I checked in with Alexa and I said, hey, how long does it take for boiling water to get back to room temperature? And the answer was, it depends on how long it's been boiling, and it depends on the cooling agent. And it was so profound to me. It might seem like, it's really random, but I thought the children who come through the foster care system are at some point in that boiling process. And we as parents are the cooling agent, and our consistency, our love, our compassion, our steadiness, our hospitality is what helps them to understand that they can go back to being room temperature. Because a lot of children, whether they are pre-verbal or not, are in survival mode. And they are looking for consistency. They feel like you're the enemy until you show them otherwise. And so we had a week and a half to childproof our home. We got things together to help them and realize when they came that there were 4 A's that we needed to put in place. And that's what's helped us over the course of the past 11 years of being foster parents and then adoptive parents to walk through this living, loving, learning. Not perfect, but I would like to say that in talking with our children now, the ones that we have adopted, that we have had a modicum of success. Let me say that, okay? So the first one is that life calls you to participate. And we have been prepared, regardless of what our circumstances are. There is something in your life that can be the ingredient in someone's recipe for success, someone's recipe for love, someone's recipe for change. And so we have to see that we have something to contribute as a potential foster parent. I also want to say that we have to look at an appraisal. That's the first A. There are 4 A's, right? There's appraisal, adjustment, application, and attention. The appraisal is the self-inventory. What has been your journey? How have you come through a place of healing? How will you be able to provide hospitality? How will you be able to provide something that's of strength? And what is your weakness as you reach out to love someone that you are not familiar with? You don't know how they were brought up, but there is trauma in their life that is going to require stability in your life. And so I felt like being in a place of healing was going to provide for our kids. One was 3, one was 7, that we ended up adopting. My 3-year-old was wearing 24-month-old clothing. He was that small, and he was suffering from the failure to thrive. But my preparation was that for the previous decade, I had been working on a dietary lifestyle that allowed for a different way of eating. And so I was able to provide him with the nutrition and a lifestyle that paid attention to his numerous allergies and brought him onto a place of healing and health and wholeness. Making an adjustment was creating an environment in our home where, as a woman of faith, we had music playing, we had, we had quiet time, we had a place where that was absent of a lot of drama, so that they could find a place to rest and to have some respite. And my 7-year-old was barking like a dog. She was very uncommunicative, very angry, and having a place where she could feel like she was still welcome while still working through what she was and coming to a place of trusting us was important. So we made the adjustment. We didn't expect her to be loving. We didn't expect her to be grateful. We expected her to understand that we were giving without expecting in return. Application was getting involved and being the person who could go with them to court cases, to advocate on their behalf. And again, we were natural advocates. And so it was easy for us to look at them and say, listen, this child needs a certain type of therapy. This child needs they need a certain type of environment, working with the school systems, writing letters, showing up. We can show up and we can be that force and be that person that allows the children to say, someone is here for me. And I don't know, what I do in the workplace is teach workforce productivity. And one of the things that we talk about is Abraham Maslow. He was a psychologist who worked, well, he's passed now, but one of the things that he talked about was the pyramid, and getting from the lower level all the way up to self-actualization. And one of the places on that pyramid, foundational place, is belonging. And don't we all need that? We need to know that we fit somewhere. And so whether someone was going to be there for 2 weeks or be there for, as it turned out, for 7 years and then adopted for 4 years, we wanted to give them a place of belonging where we said, listen, it is okay. You come out of your shell, you grow as you need to grow. Was it easy? No. Was it disruptive? Very. But were we there for the long haul? Yes. And we thought about the children's future. That's what kept me accountable. It kept me accountable to God, and it kept me accountable to the children, because I thought, what will your interaction with my life cause you to think about in your future? And the reason I said we had a modicum of success is that I can talk to our 18-year-old now, who is understanding of where she started, but because of her interaction with our lives, understands that she does not have to stay where she started. she now has hope and a future. And isn't that what God says that his thoughts toward us are? Right? He gives us hope and a future. So my 3-year-old is now 14. He is wearing adult male clothing. He is taller than I am. He's grown out of some of his allergies. He understands about praying and believing God for his healing as well. He is not taking the medication that he was taking many years ago because we have incorporated a holistic lifestyle for him where he is probably eating too much and probably talking too much because he was also fairly nonverbal. He was diagnosed with a developmental delay, and now you would never know it. He's trying to pick me up. That's another story. But attention is the last A that I'll leave with you, where self-care as a person who is providing care. I found out about secondary PTSD. I found out about compassion fatigue. When you are in a place of providing care at such a level for people who have been in traumatic situations, it can affect your mental health and well-being. And so it's important. We had to realize that in loving them, we also had to love ourselves. We had to find out what their particular maybe co-indications were, that we were able to get them medications for diagnoses, ADHD, borderline personality disorder. There were different things that we had to get involved and to pay attention to them. We had to pay attention to environments that were triggering to them so that we could provide a blanket around them, a wraparound, and keep them from being in triggering situations. So it is, I want to say that tugs on your heart are whispers from God. And that when we pay attention, because life is very loud, but when we settle down and when we listen, I believe that God shows us where we can contribute to the betterment and make a difference that matters. Thank you so much. I don't know if it's been 10 minutes or not, but that's what I have to share. And I hope that it has helped someone. It helps someone who is thinking about becoming a foster parent, and that I appreciate your allowing me to contribute today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Forbes. I appreciate you.